Now, 3 British men have been jailed for 4 years for possessing drugs in Dubai. They were arrested last summer while they were on holiday in the United Arab Emirates, and they all claim to have been tortured by police while in custody. A case is to be raised by the Prime Minister when the UAE President arrives here on a visit tomorrow. Our Home Affairs correspondent Simon Israel reports.
The opulence of Dubai is visible to all. But what goes on in the shadows of the United Arab Emirates criminal justice system is sometimes not. Today, 3 Britons were jailed for 4 years for possession of synthetic cannabis known as spice. A charge of supply against Grant Cameron, Carl Williams and Sunit Jur was dropped. They claim they were tortured into confessing.
He'd been kicked, punched, stripped naked, and they used cattle rod on him. And it was only till, I think, last year, after the summer, maybe the end of last year, that he actually told me that he was electrocuted, and I found that really quite shocking.
Torture of this kind means that you can never get a fair trial, and so we think the charges against the men should have been dropped and they should have been released. In fact, it's the torturers who should be being prosecuted.
David Cameron has promised to raise this case with UAE President Sheikh Khalifa. They met last November in Abu Dhabi. Tomorrow, that invitation is returned and the Sheikh begins a state visit here. But the issues of torture and human rights go far beyond just one case. Last year saw the beginning of a crackdown on human rights dissidents post-Arab Spring. Former state prosecutor Mohammed Al-Zaabi is one of 94 facing charges of conspiring against the state. Last month, he fled to London.
I
am afraid because I saw lots of cases. We are talking about 70 people who were detained, and because of their torture, their families could not recognize them after their release. Some of them lost 30 kilos and now can't even recognize the people around them. Most of them are doctors and educated people. Court appearances in Abu Dhabi have been heavily guarded. These men are state security. They prevented a visiting team of British lawyers having access to the Supreme Court. The lawyers' report lists some of the abusive interrogation techniques that have been used on the detainees. They include severe beatings, asphyxiation, removal of some of their fingernails. One detainee reported threats of rape and sexual abuse, while another said they had not seen sunlight for 100 days.
This is an attempt by the authorities to place on trial anybody in UAE society who has an influence upon the minds of young people. Anybody who's asked for democracy or anybody who's asked for very simple powers for Parliament are being sought out and purged from society.
The UAE authorities have refused to comment. The country offers the prospect of multi-million-pound military export deals for the UK. But the President's visit, some human rights organisations believe, is simply to garner respectability.